I've worked in many different industries. I've worked in real estate, I've worked in retail, I've worked in distribution, I've worked in manufacturing, I worked in financial services. And I think what I've learned about working across those industries is that there's more similarities than differences in the industries. Everybody has their own lingo, but the issues around people and organizational issues are very, very similar no matter what industry you're in. I've been able to complete 7 integrations of mergers and acquisitions, and really from all angles, from being the company that was taken over hostilely to being the hostile takeover company, to kind of mergers of equals and working together to make the company bigger. What I've learned is the integration, the change that people have to go through, the transition that people have to go through to make the organization work successfully is really the challenge. It's really easy to draw it out on the board, say these are the things that we're going to do, line up the new org chart. All of that is pretty perfunctory. It's the actual culture integration, getting people to work together on new teams, form new teams, bringing ideas from 2 places and making a 3rd idea. That's what makes the organization stronger. Yeah, I had the privilege, the honor to work with Martin Buxbaum, who was one of the top shopping mall developers in the country. And Martin and I were having lunch one day, and he said to me that, you know, Andy, you only make money on real estate when you buy it. And I see the same with people. We only make good investments in our people when we hire them in and then we train them and develop them. We don't realize those over the short term. We realize that investment over the long term. So I've always taken that from both being real estate and people, that it's a long-term hold, that you want to invest in them and you get the best the longer you invest. Finding the best version of oneself is really a discovery process. Unfortunately, it's one that not many of us ever take that journey. So what we get a chance to do at Xcellero is to really help people, whether it's one individual, whether it's the whole team, or whether it's the organization, is to really take the journey to say, what does it look like if we're the best we can be? What do we have to be? What do we have to change? What do we want to grow to be the best we can be? The alignment of the best versions is really the art. If this was a science, it would be wonderful. We could write a book and teach class on it. It's an art. So the idea is, what are the overall arching vision of the organization? What are the goals of the organization? And then aligning all of those within, from the organization down to the individual, from the executive team all the way down to their direct reports, and ultimately down to the workers that make it happen. One of the things we think makes Xcellero unique is Doug bringing the psychological individual driver part of the business and me bringing the macro organizational part of the business together. We're being told by our clients, not anybody else offers that to them, that we're bringing a unique perspective and they're able to see within their organization and achieve different results because we're facilitating through that process. And we work with many different industries right now. We work with healthcare, we work with distribution, financial services, manufacturing. I think what makes us unique is that we work with any organization that has to go through some change for growth, for redesign, for transition of a family to one generation to the next. So if the organization's stuck on their growth, or they've hit a bump in the road and have to refocus, then that's a place that they call us in and we can help them. one of the things that companies often hire us to do is to put a vision, or they've lost track, or there's been a new leader in place and they have to create or change the vision. And we've got several examples of organizations who we helped them from that piece, maybe the CEO in their first 100 days, to create and craft that vision and then take it down to gain alignment. And we've got probably 3 or 4 companies that just come to mind immediately that have put that in place. We work with them over a period of 6, 7, 8 years and watch that happen and continue to grow it. So it goes from the vision, sometimes realigning the purpose. Why are they in business? What's their mission as the organization changes? And then setting the strategy and the goals to accomplish those as they go. There is a real gap coming up in leadership that I think all organizations have to recognize. Number one, baby boomers are all going to be 65 by 2027. That means that there is not enough leaders. There are not enough leaders to go forward. And we don't have as many layers in the organization as we used to. So we're not getting those incremental growth steps that we need to become a leader. We're having to do that through development programs and intentionally giving them experiences that you used to get just as part of being promoted. I think leaders are oftentimes looked at as either developed or born, and I think it's both. I think people have some natural talents and gifts that they're born with, but I do believe anybody can be developed to be a leader if they want to be. But it takes constant self-development, and it takes intentional development by both the individual as well as the organization to make that happen. Small to mid-sized companies tend to invest longer term in their leadership development. They tend to put it as a priority because there's not enough people in the organization. There's more gaps. They know they have to develop them. And they see that investment in the budget on a long-term basis, and they get that investment paid off when they can promote versus going outside the organization. Being able to successfully cast a vision is probably one of the most critical talents for a leader to learn. Whether you're the CEO or whether you're the first line supervisor, you have to set a vision that your employees will follow with you. It should cascade down from the CEO down to that first line supervisor, but it has to be done. And usually we're not taught how to create visions. That's always thought of as, well, the executives will do that. But one of the things we do in working with teams and organizations is take that visioning process all the way down to that first line supervisor. When we begin a relationship with a new client, one of the things that we talk to them about is that if they're looking for us just to say yes and agree with them, we're not the right organization to work with. We would rather help them work through some of these issues by challenging their thinking, opening new possibilities, and we'll even be the ones to kind of break open the sacred cows and the areas that they don't want to go to. We'll take that heat collectively in front of their team so that they can get everything on the table and work and go forward.